Hi and welcome back to Justin Talks Villa. I'm still with Peter Withe and we're just going to throw a few questions at him, quick fire questions, and see what he answers these with. So, Peter, ready? Your favourite goal you scored? Now, I think there's an obvious one, but was there one that wasn't that goal, that was your favourite goal? For anyone, doesn't have to be Villa.
I think that the European Cup goal is vitally
For
important.
obvious reasons.
For obvious reason. But it's actually... Stephen, my son's favourite goal, is against Middlesbrough because it was a crucial goal to take us on the road to Europe because we beat Middlesbrough, and that goal sort of, Gary had scored the first, I scored the second to cement and then Alan Evans scored the third. So it was a unique goal that I practised and practised and practised.
And to see it come off in a game is obviously very exciting. What's the favourite goal you've seen live?
One that I was in the stadium and watched a goal was probably Alec Young.
Oh, right. Before my time.
Who played for Everton. His nickname was the Golden Vision.
Right.
He was a Scottish international who had this blonde curly hair. Yeah. Who was 5'10", but used to jump above any centre half. Right. And he'd score headed goals. And he scored a few of the goals that I on the terrace and I stood on the terrace and watched and idolised.
Fantastic. Great memories. Right, your favourite kit, Villa kit of all time. Now, again.
Yeah. I would say the European kit was a very unique kit with regards to the texture that it was, with regards to the way it was set out. Yeah. With the regards to the emblem on the front and the badge saying the European Cup final. I quite enjoyed that kit.
It's a lovely kit, isn't it? They've tried to recreate it a few times, the white kit with the pinstripes, but I don't think anything's going to recreate that kit. No. It's such an iconic kit, isn't it? What's the best game you've seen live?
Best game I've seen live? There's been lots, but I would think that coming back and playing Bayern Munich after 42 years. Yeah.
Was you at the game then this season?
And coming back from Australia to watch the game and a number of other reasons as well. But certainly to come back and watch the game, the way that they treated the players.
Right, that's good.
Put us in the Doug Ellis stand with the new restaurants and that, and put us all together and mingled with all the supporters, and then to be told that we had to go over to the changing rooms, and then of course go into which I'd got a whisper about, and go into the tunnel with the European Cup on display, and the future King of England comes down to have a picture taken with us.
Wow. Was that before the game?
That was before the game.
Wow, I didn't know
So we didn't get on the pitch because UEFA wouldn't allow us on the pitch.
Right. But you could go in the tunnel.
We got into the tunnel and the King come down. And I've got 2 pictures.
Wow.
Have you not seen the pictures?
No. Okay. I'll get that off you and we'll put it into the video and we'll put it onto the screen so people can see it.
So we had the pictures taken with him. And then, of course, I had an opportunity to see him. I was doing a corporate day. Not this game, but another time. And I remember coming up the stairs to the level where he normally is in a box at the end of the Trinity Road. He's in the right-hand side, behind the goal at the Holt end. And I come up the stairs and there's a rumpus going on at the top of the stairs. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? There's a lot of people. Anyway, I got to the top of the stairs and he's now coming like this. And I've seen him. And he's got to here and gone like that. And he's like, I want to stop and talk to him. And then his security is pushing him on. He's looking back like this. So he never got a chance to talk to me because we get there and everyone wants to talk to him.
Yeah.
But I managed to I said to him, is it all right if I have a picture taken with you? So he said, yeah, by all means, come on. So we ended up
He also comes across as a really nice guy,
We ended up taking a picture. Then others realised, so they all was diving in. I was taking pictures of them. And he's, like you think to yourself, take the picture, disappear. Yeah. He took the picture, he stayed with us for 15 minutes.
Wow.
Talking to all of us. he wouldn't pick the European Cup up because we said to him, and he went, no, I don't want to put the mockers on it.
No.
I
I'll
want
pick
us
it up
to
when
go.
we win it again.
That's what he wanted.
Fabulous. Your favourite stadium you played in, and I'm not accepting Villa Park as an answer.
I suppose I look back now I used to sell programmes at Goodison Park
Right.
with my uncle and my dad.
How do you feel
And my
about that
brothers.
going?
Well, so I was always in the Gladys Street end,
Yes.
which is
Like the
equivalent-
Holt end, yeah.
it's equivalent to the Holt end. So I was always in there watching the games. And of course, I have a lot of friends who've, Everton supporters. So when I went to Goodison Park to play, and felt a little bit of, I suppose, play because I used to say to a few of my mates, one day I'm going to play here. And they used to laugh at me and say to me, don't be stupid. What do you mean you play at Goodison Park? I said, I'm going to play here. I'm telling you, I'm going to play here one day. And to play there, I would say there's a lot of stadiums.
Yeah.
Like I've played at the Bernabeu.
Yes.
I've played at
Iconic stadium, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, but that stadium to actually stand on them terraces, it's a bit like Gary.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Gary stand on the Holt end. It's a bit like Collymore stand on the Holt end. Because of you standing there, that is one of the
The
stadiums.
emotional attachment, isn't it?
And of course, it's going to go.
But it still remains, I've been there dozens of times to watch Villa play, and it still remains one of the best stadiums to watch football in, atmosphere-wise, close to the pitch. Like Villa Park, really.
Yeah.
But
So I put down, because I was on the terrace, and I put down that as a...
all right, we'll let you have Goodison, and I'll let you have Goodison. The best player you played with in your career?
That's a bit of a... I would like to think that I've played with some players that for a few reasons, I'd like to think that made them a better player and made me a better player. But I look back on... I played with Trevor Francis.
Yeah.
And Trevor was a remarkable young man. Had this unique ability, quick, scored goals, little and large again, flick him on, he'd go run through, score goals. So I had a great relationship. Funnily enough, how things turn out, went to Nottingham Forest, played my first game on a sign for the reserves against Wolves with a borrowed pair of boots, and played up front with a lad called Tony Woodcock,
Right.
who wasn't even in the team. They were going to sell him to Doncaster Rovers or Lincoln City. He scored the goal. I had an absolute nightmare playing up front with him. But all of a sudden came back and we formed a relationship that I then, when I come to Villa Park and formed that relationship with Gary Shaw, them three players probably stand out as partnerships, if you see what I mean.
Well, Withe and Shaw will be remembered forever, won't it?
Well, I think the difference between the others is I played 2 seasons,
Yeah.
where with Gary, I played 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So you would have to pick what we did together
Yeah,
in them 5 seasons together.
I'll take that. Favourite Villa manager that you played under? So, not many to choose from, but we'll rule it out to who do you think is Villa's best manager?
I'd say Ron, because Ron, to me, even if I had to choose between the ones that I had, I'd choose him because of his strong character, his strong belief in winning things, his dogmatic thoughts about having the fittest side, the most competitive. And if people don't probably realise, but if you look in the past of his teams got stronger as the season went on because of the way that his fitness regime was at the early stages of the season and throughout the season. You know, like when we had, if we didn't have a game in midweek, we'd be working our socks off. He had a big influence on core strength, body strength, which all your running and everything you do comes from the core.
Yeah.
And he had this belief because he was ex-army, he was a boxer.
Yeah, yeah.
The young players used to get frustrated because he used to punch them.
You can get away with that now, would
no,
you?
you can't do that any day. But when I talked to the players later in the latter stages, like the Cowans, the Morleys, the Shaws, the young players, they realised what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
He was just trying to build up their strength and build up their
fitness,
mental attitude to be strong, to be strong. And so I would say, he'd have to be Ronson.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Right, here's an interesting one. In the current Villa team, you can bring one player back from history that's played for Villa to improve the Villa team now. Who would you pick?
Well, I can't pick myself, can I?
You can't pick yourself now. I'll tell you who Gary Thompson picked. Shall I tell you who Gary Thompson picked? Wait until after you've picked yours then.
No.
Then I'll tell you who Gary picked.
I would say this.
And why? And looking at the Villa team, what do you think they need?
I'd probably say Gordon Cowans. The reason why I picked Gordon Cowans is because he was a slight build.
Yep.
He wasn't the biggest in the world, but ferocious in the tackle. Had great vision.
Brilliant.
Could pick out the pass with his left foot or his right foot. People used to say, is he left-footed or right-footed?
I never knew, to be honest.
Because he just, all you have to do is look at penalties.
Yeah.
Because people take penalties with the favourite foot. So he could ping it either side. I think that his vision would be an improvement to the team. People say to me, players of your era couldn't play in today's game. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, because it's like, I used to have this argument about players in our day. Players in our day were good enough to adapt to whatever the team, you could play a fast tempo game, you'd build yourself, you play a slow tempo game and you could play to it. And I used to say, like George Best, do you think George Best can't play on that pitch? Because he used to run through mud.
Yeah.
When you look at our pitches that we used to play.
They're playing carpets now.
I remember Villa Park, there was probably 5 metres of touchline where it had grass. The rest was just sand. It was like playing a sand pit, because the pitches nowadays is like a carpet. Do you think players can't play on a carpet? You'd be running with the ball and be stuck in the mud. You're trying to hook it out the mud. So,
imagine Sid in this team.
Who did he pick?
He picked Brian Little.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, because Brian was centre forward, score goals.
One rule that you would change in modern day football?
Probably 2 I would change, but the most important thing that I would change is that stop players grabbing players in the box.
Yeah.
I would stop that immediately. I would just say to the referee, if it happens, give him a card.
Yeah.
Because that would stop people grabbing hold of people. I mean, the wrestling, it undermines the referee because the referee doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Whereas he's given the
At what point does it become a foul?
Yeah. So if I'm the ball's there and I'm looking at you and stopping you with my hands, that's a foul.
Yeah.
That is a penalty. Without no shadow of a doubt. When you see some people wrestling them down to the ground, that is a penalty. And it would stop because managers would say, will you stop grabbing them? Just mark them, touch them. We used to say touch tight.
Yeah.
Touch them, that's how tight you need to be to them. Not fucking grabbing it.
But the minute you grab a bit of shirt or something, that's it. Yeah.
And that, to me, changes the philosophy of the game for the simple reason is that people want to see goals. If you stop that, you'll see more goals.
Yeah.
You'll see goals going in the back of the net.
What's the other one?
The other one I'd stop is managers, funnily enough.
Doing what?
Like when I coached in Asia, there's a box. And you stay in the box, right? And I see managers running up and down the touchline. I see managers stepping out the box pushing. I see managers and I'm like, just stop this. you know, card,
Yeah.
you'd soon not go out the
stands.
box. You'd soon not go out the box. And I just feel, I've noticed, I've managed myself and I've done it, you know, you do get excited and you do when you score a goal, but you only have to stay in the box.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
That's what it is there for.
Yeah.
And it's there for you. Why am I complaining, standing here, that he's running up and down the touchline? And I'm not. Is that right? No, that's not right to me. So that's what I'd stop.
Yeah, well, I'll take that. 2 more questions, then we're finished. Biggest influence in your life, football or otherwise?
I would say my dad had a big influence because he started it. My dad was an ex-professional, semi-professional. Because the war didn't pursue it, he got shot as well, so that curtailed his career a little bit. But encouraged, you know, I've got 2 older brothers. Not so much the younger brother because he wasn't sort of like we were so close together with regards to the age-wise. So he encouraged us to play. We all wanted